Welcome to Free Talk. Until the last decade, it was believed that ADD and ADHD were limited to children, which would disappear in puberty. Research and clinical work has proven otherwise. Attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder is more and more being diagnosed in adults, and this is what we're discussing this afternoon. Are you easily distracted, overly impulsive, suffer from boredom all the time, even have addiction problems? You may be an adult with ADD or ADHD. Call us 086 22 33 303. Dr. Shabir Jiva is a specialist psychiatrist who specializes in this disorder, and he himself suffers from ADHD. Dr. Jiva, welcome to Free Talk. As a psychiatrist, what got you interested specifically in ADD and ADHD?
Well, I realized very late in my life that I was ADHD. So I lived the whole life of an ADHD person since childhood till my present life. And the kids when I trained as a child psychiatrist in Canada, all the kids I was treating, I said I had all the same symptoms, and nobody ever diagnosed it, nobody ever treated it, and I had to struggle on my own against great disadvantage. And that's how my passion and interest rose in ADHD throughout adulthood and adolescence.
Are symptoms for ADD and ADHD in adults the same as those in children, or were you a sort of a rare case that you found all those symptoms in the children applying to you?
No, the major symptoms are broken up into three: inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity.
Right.
And they have subsections and they go throughout life. But as the kids get older, the inattention gets worse, the hyperactivity and impulsivity gets better. That is one of the reasons most people thought that ADHD disappeared by adolescence, because there was no hyperactivity, there was no impulsivity, but these kids still went on to adult life and the inattention crippled them. The other new thing is that we don't use ADD and ADHD, we only use the single term ADHD, which is broken up into inattentive type. They have most of the inattentive symptoms where they don't remember, they forget, they can't finish things, they look lazy, dreamy, spacey. Then the other kind is the hyperactive, impulsive type, the naughty one that everybody knows in the world. All the teachers and social workers know, and they put them in the front of the class, and the parents don't understand them, and the teachers can't stand them. And the most common kind is the combined type. So we don't use the term ADD at all, and we shouldn't use it today. It's ADHD inattentive type is 20% of the population of the kids. ADHD hyperactive impulsive type, which is 10%.
So there aren't two different that you will diagnose, because if my memory serves me correct, when we did this show on attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in children a couple of years ago, if my memory serves me correct, some doctors were saying that there are some children who would be ADD and there are some children who would be ADHD.
Yeah, but because the problem is many parents say, oh, my child is ADD, I'm not taking Ritalin. Your child is ADHD, you are taking Ritalin. You're the bad one, I'm the good one. So we came to a central system. There's no more ADDs. ADHD inattentive type is the same as the old ADD type. ADHD hyperactive impulsive type, the naughty kind that you know, that everybody knew, and the combined type.
Right.
So no more ADD. The only difference is movement. The movement is optional. The movement is not compulsory. The inattention is compulsory, and the impulsivity is compulsory. If you're moving around, that's great. If you're not moving around, that's also great. That's fine. That doesn't make a big difference. The treatment is nearly the same. It's only the one that's hyperactive or moving around get into more trouble, because they're looking for the heat, they're looking for the excitement and passion, and people grab them and they get into more difficulty. But the ADD term is not used anymore. It's just ADHD. Three kinds: hyperactive, impulsive, 10% of the population of the kids. ADHD inattentive, 23% of the population, and about 60% the combined type, the most common type.
Would you say now, here is Dr. Jiva, a very successful psychiatrist, specialist psychiatrist, who went through many years not knowing that he was ADHD. Do you think to this day there could be many people in South Africa and the world over who are not realizing that they have ADHD? Or do you think we've sort of gotten over that and lots of people are getting treatment for it?
Most people are not getting treatment. The child statistics is 7 to 10% of the world kids. 70% of these kids go to adulthood.
Yeah.
So most of them are missed, especially the girls. The girls have more the inattentive type. When they present as little girls, they're lazy, spacey, dreamy, and the teachers put them usually in the back of the class because they're not jumping around and naughty.
Yeah.
There's no ADHD. Even the doctors don't know. Even the psychiatrists don't know. They think you must be jumping and flying around and be a naughty child to be ADHD. So these girls are put in the back of the class. They're misdiagnosed. So in a little boy, the ratio is 6 boys to 1 girl.
Yeah.
In adolescence, the girls come through a little bit. So 6 boys to 2 girls. And suddenly these girls get married and they're in big trouble in relationships, big trouble in marriage, and big trouble in work, and it's 1:1, because that's when the girls sprout up and the sickness comes through, and they come to our offices with anxiety, depression, substance abuse, maybe bipolar and antisocial traits. They don't say, I got ADHD. They're depressed and anxious, and they don't know why. And then many of them are treated with medication for depression, and the medication for depression for ADHD is more specific. So many of them don't even get well. So the girls get picked up late. So that's why many people thought the illness disappeared. Even medical aid and doctors and parents thought at 15 the illness disappeared. No. The 2 symptoms decreased, the hyperactivity, impulsivity improved by teenagers, but inattention got worse. The main symptom in adulthood is inattention. But most physicians don't even know what inattention is all about. Forget parents and social workers. So they can't focus, they can't finish things, they can't start things, they get lazy, they procrastinate, they dawdle. And
now, are we talking here about both men and women, adults?
Adults and children. I'll tell you about each. We're going to try to focus more on adult because of our talk, but the kids, the girls get misdiagnosed, late diagnosed, never diagnosed. They're put in the back of the class because they're inattentive, dreamy, spacey. Nobody's brain thinks there could be any movement, so they put in the back of the class. The teachers spend 65% of the time with the naughty kids in front of the class, 25% of the clever kids in the middle. That's 90% of the time. By the time they come to these lazy, spacey, inattentive girls, the bell rings and they just fall through the cracks. They get 55% marks and they go throughout school, and nobody notices them doing bad at failing or doing great at getting awards. They just fall through the cracks. As they get older, the presentation is different. The girls, their hyperactivity is hyperverbalization. They talk a lot.